Hi, I'm Becker Gooch. I live at 234 South Roosevelt here in Moscow, Idaho. And I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for this opportunity to speak to you. I'm here because I'd like to follow up on my recent comments before the council about the need for a pedestrian, bike, and handicap accessible crossing at Paradise Creek and 3rd Street, or as those in our area have nicknamed it, Willow Crossing, because we have this beautiful, magnificent willow tree right at that site. The talk and planning of such a crossing has been in the works since 2005. The Moscow City Resolution 2007-30 addressed the need and commitment directly. The 3rd Street pedestrian bridge remains on the city's capital improvement list. You have in front of you images of high school students crossing the area where the pedestrian bridge should be. They have created their own passage. That happens twice a day, 5 days a week. Students are not the only ones jumping the creek. Daily bikers, walkers, and families with children, some lifting strollers, also take the plunge. Without a proper pedestrian crossing, injuries have a potential of a liability serious for the city. Citizens for a Livable Community is affiliated with a group that raised $16,000 with little effort that now is sitting in the city coffers. For some reason, the ball was dropped and fundraising stalled, and so did the energy to move forward. We accept responsibility for being lax in the past, but it is time to move forward to make this plan become a reality. We can no longer put student safety at risk by using the leap of faith method. We believe that fundraising can leverage public dollars with private donations to see the safety project become a reality in the very near future. It is estimated to be approximately a $70,000 project to bring safety to the community. We have received verbal commitment from community members that would nicely increase the already donated $16,000 we have now, and we could do more. We welcome an open discussion of how this citizens group can work with the City of Moscow and the committees to make this project happen as soon as possible. Our contact information is on the brochure that I gave you, along with the pictures of these very brave students and very creative students. I would like to thank you for your time, and we look forward to collaborating with you and seeing Willow Crossing becoming a reality. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Nels Cerise, 308 South Hayes. I've promised you a little insight into a book called Walkable City. I happen to have an extra copy of it, which I'll leave with Mayor Bill, and you can borrow it when you're visiting the mayor's office. Chapter 1, or point 1, there's a number of things about Walkable City that I'm going to bring over a period of time, and the first one this evening is putting cars in their place, and this is a large chapter, and so it's going to have two parts to it. But I would like to say that this isn't to replace or contradict the plan that, the big plan. Catherine loaned me her plan. It's pretty heavy, 500 pages, and as I'm working through it, it's an important thing, and this is just an adjunct to go along with that plan. I'm quoting now, of course, Jeff Speck, who wrote this book. Cars are the lifeblood of the American city. Even in our most successful walking and transit cities, they are everywhere, contributing activity, vitality to the landscape. Past failures have taught us that banning cars outright brings more risk than reward. Whatever technological revolutions may transform them in the years ahead, it is safe to bet that automobiles will remain a fixture in our communities for the remainder of our lives, and that's good. But what is not good is the current situation in which the automobile has mostly been given free rein to distort our cities and our lives. Now, thanks to its ever-increasing demands for space, speed, and time, the car has reshaped, my hearing aid is talking to me, has reshaped our landscape and lifestyles around its own needs. It is an instrument of freedom that we all love, and an instrument that has enslaved us. About once a month, I give a talk, this is Jeff, somewhere in America, typically to a chamber of commerce, a planning association, or a bunch of people at a bookstore, and I have one hard and fast rule. Every lecture, no matter what, I will talk at length about induced demand. That's the feature of this 3 minutes. I do this because induced demand is a great intellectual black hole in city planning. Traffic studies are perhaps the most inevitable activity in planning these days. If you want to add a significant use to a neighborhood, you have to have a plan. If you want to change the design of a street, you have to have a traffic study. It's a traffic study. We've done that, haven't we? This circumstance is unsurprising since traffic congestion is the main topic of civic complaint in most American communities. Traffic engineering communities don't want you to read the next few paragraphs that I'm going to present. Quickly, traffic studies, he says, this is Jeff speaking, I'm going to be careful here. Traffic studies are bull, underline, 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 underline. They are bull, underline, 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 for 3 main reasons. First, the computer model is only as good as its inputs. And there is nothing easier than tweaking the inputs to get the outcome you want. Number 2, traffic studies are typically performed by firms that do traffic engineering. As long as engineers are in charge of traffic studies, they will predict the need for engineering. 3, and last, and most essential, the main problem of traffic studies is that they almost never consider the phenomenon of induced demand, or induced demand is a name for what happens when increasing the supply of roadways lowers the time cost of driving, causing more people to drive and obliterating any reductions in congestion. An interesting thing. Induced demand. Thank you, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, it's October the 3rd.